Hey y'all, welcome back to Rowdy Homestead Ranch. Today we're going to pick up with our last gardening video where you saw us weeding everything and you saw us filling up the beds to top them off and get ready to plant for this season. Our garden was sitting fallow for a year approximately, and that's because we had a family member last year get sick, and so we really couldn't tend to it. We had far more pressing matters, so we're cleaning it up and starting afresh this year with most things. We do have a few plants that have survived through winter. We were able to protect. We have some chives that are going. I'm going to probably try to split those up this year if I can. We have some sage that's still making it, and I have some flowers I planted. I don't even remember at this point what they are, but they're supposed to flower in the second year, so I'm leaving those hoping they'll do that this year. I also have some cilantro back here. Something else that we'll show you is we have some grapevines. They're starting to kind of bud for the season, and underneath those grapevines is where I do a lot of my herbs, and that seems to work really, really well here. And whenever we filled in some of the fresh dirt, that's when I noticed that because we let it sit for so long untouched, and with the drought we had here last year, the soil that we added in the compost, it's all hydrophobic. It is repelling the water. So what I need to do today is I need to thoroughly water all of these beds in today and get them to start absorbing. The water is just going to sit for a while, but it'll slowly start absorbing, and once it does that, then I'm going to be able to start watering it some more, but then be able to plant some seeds in there as well. And because where we are, we're in, I think it's 8B growing zone here. It's late in the season, it's mid-March now, so I'm going to be very limited on what I can plant this year, but I'm still going to plant some things and see what we can do for this year. We'll be able to get some things out of this garden, and so we're going to do that. Still kind of winging it on what I want to plant. I always do that. I just kind of go by what I want to do, but I'm probably going to do some carrots and some potatoes. I'm going to do some tomatoes for sure. Okra always thrives down here. Probably not going to do any onions. It's a little too late in the season, I think, for that. I don't think they'll thrive very well. I might try a few as an experiment, but I don't expect much out of them. Going to plant some more herbs over here in our kind of shady area. They always seem to do well. While we're getting these beds watered in, I wanted to talk more about what I meant by hydrophobic soil for those who don't know. What that means is that the dirt is so dry it's literally repelling the water. It won't absorb it. It either just pulls up or it just rolls off of the soil in a stream, and it doesn't actually soak in and hydrate that soil. So what you have to do is take it a little bit at a time and start getting it moist again. I've heard that you can use a small amount of dish soap to help break that, but with how much soil we're watering down, I didn't really want to do that. So we're just taking our time. We're going to water it in a little bit at a time over the week that we spent after this day. We went ahead and just watered it once a day, took our time, soaked it in, and then we also got the blessing of rain later in the week, and that really helped to get it to where we needed it to be moisture-wise. I also wanted to fix what I said about our growing zone last week. I thought it was 8B because of the maps, we're kind of on that border, but we looked it up to be official, and it is actually 9A, which is close, but a little bit different. And our Ryobi tiller is actually not an attachment. I was thinking of another one that we have that was my father-in-law's, but it is actually a full-on tiller that just works like a beast. It was amazing. So I told you last week that we have filled all of these beds using what's called the Hugelkultur method. And that is a German method where you lay down whole logs and branches and leaves, and you fill in and then you top it with dirt. So what we did is we have oaks and cedar elm around here on this property. So we took logs that we had around here that were already dead, and we cut them up into about 8 to 12 inch pieces, and we filled up the whole bottom of the beds with that. And then we would put in any cut up branches on top of that and put in any leaves on top of that before we filled up with dirt. And we filled it up about halfway to 2/3. It's been several years now since we did it, and it probably depended on what we had on hand, but that's about how full we got it, and that gave us plenty of room for our vegetables to grow in their roots, or things like carrots to have enough space to grow down without hitting all of that stuff. And what happens is over the years, as you're using these garden beds, they actually absorb a lot lot of water and they kind of work like a sponge, and they slowly break down over the years until they become soil themselves, but it takes a long time. And then you just slowly, as the plants take out the soil that they've converted into their energy, and as you have erosion and things like that, you just slowly replace the topsoil with compost and gardening type soil to amend it over the years and just top it back off. But that down there really helps to have water and help those roots to stretch down toward that water and not stay at the surface level, which ultimately, especially here, really helps with watering your garden in the long term. The water hose that I'm using for these raised beds is on a retractable hose reel, and we absolutely love it. It's 100 foot long and it is a 1/2 inch wide hose. All you do is you grab it by the handle and pull out there, not by the actual sprayer attachment, and you pull it out to the length that you need, pull it a little bit more, and it'll lock into place. You use it as you would want to. It's very lightweight and easy to maneuver around these beds, and it works beautifully. And then when you're done with it, you just pull it out slightly and it starts to retract up. You don't want it to slam in there, you want to guide it in, but it works beautifully. The other water hose that you can see hanging on one of our cattle panels is a longer one that we have set up for the in-ground garden that Crazy Berserker uses to plant corn and all the things that he is interested in trying out and experimenting with. But he needed a longer hose to reach all the way to the end of that one, so we set that one up for him, and he's been enjoying that one greatly.
Got the good book open, coffee on the stove. Ain't much money, but we're rich in the soul. Through sweat and struggle, through highs and lows, we plant in the spring, trust the Lord, and it grows. At Rowdy Homestead Ranch, we stand on the rock. Through trials and storms, we walk the walk. With love in our hearts and dirt on our hands, we build up our dreams on this promised land. We don't need fortune, we don't need fame, just family, the Lord, and a good last name. We break our bread, bow our heads, thanking Jesus for the life we've been blessed. At Rowdy Homestead Ranch, where the love runs deep, the cattle may roam, but our faith won't leave. With the cross on our walls and the stars up above, we're living this life on faith, Jesus and love. So if you're lost and need a home, Rowdy Homestead Ranch will make you feel known.
Look for our upcoming video where we plant out all of these garden beds, and TBK gets to work on honing in and adjusting our soaker hose system and makes it work so much better, has much better pressure, and covers the bed more evenly. It's working really great. If you have any questions, be sure to put them below. If you have any suggestions of things that you'd like for us to show you and to model for you, please let us know. We would love to be of assistance. We know what it was like when we were learning all of these things on the fly, and we would love to pass that knowledge forward to anybody who's interested. Well, there we have it. We've watered in all of the beds inside this part of our garden. We still have to tend to our big in-ground bed and our front bed that we've used as garlic and our blackberries, but we'll get to that in another video. But that's enough for today, getting this started to be hydrated again so it'll be ready to grow all of the great seeds that we want to put into it. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me in the garden today, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye.